There are more street glides or street glide derived ultras in my Canadian town than any other bike, probably 3 or 4 street glides for every road glide. More than any Goldwing or Indian. A couple of guys in my town have Indian Chieftains, but I've only ever seen one Indian Challenger out on the road anywhere. But street glides, you're tripping over them out here. Why? Well, I spent the week with one of the new 2024 models and put a massive 1,400 kilometers on it in every situation. I commuted, got stuck in traffic, rode long distances on the highway, and even rode some pretty sporty twisties. What did I find, and is this the ultimate bagger? Stay tuned for all the details. And as always, if you're enjoying the content, please consider subscribing, liking the video, and sharing it with friends. When it comes to rivalries, you've got Coke versus Pepsi, Yankees versus Red Sox, and Road Glide versus Street Glide. And I'll take the Street Glide on looks alone. Until 2023, this was a no-brainer as I never liked the looks of the old Road Glide, but this year's model is much improved and makes the choice harder. However, the Street Glide has also slimmed down, and the new sleeker fairing is an improvement over the outgoing model in my opinion. In fact, it's pretty much my favorite looking bagger now that the Yamaha Eluder is gone. The fairing is fork mounted and turns with the steering. The dash is attractive. I know that's a controversial statement with some. The mag wheels look good with their gleaming polished surfaces, and the proportions and fit and finish are just right. Harley has been making these for so long they have the thing dialed in, and it's a bit of a funny thing to say about a motorcycle that weighs 811 pounds fueled up, but this bike looks fairly compact, for a bagger. It's visibly smaller than an Indian Chieftain, which adds to its somewhat sporty, nimble character. For a bagger. Okay, I'll stop saying that. Now this is a very personal thing, but I also like the rider triangle better on the Street Glide. I'm 6 feet tall or 182 centimeters, and the bike fits me better than a Road Glide with its higher bars. I find the Street Glide to be better suited for the median rider. In fact, the seating position reminds me of the Goldwing, and you know Honda thought its seating position through carefully. I find that I'm more stretched on a Road Glide, and not in a good way. Everything on the Street Glide is within easy reach, and I did a 750 kilometer day without ever thinking about comfort, which is exactly what you want on a bagger. The seat is 28.1 inches off the ground, wide and plush, and I had no complaints. If this was my bike, I'd keep it. The 4.6 inches of suspension travel in the front was great. The 3 inches out back left me wanting more. When the bumps are small, you glide over them like a Harley Glide should, but when they get larger, your lower back provides the last few inches of shock absorption. Wind protection is also very well thought out, with most of your upper body covered, including your hands. I like how the mirrors are integrated into the fairing instead of sticking out. They provide very good visibility and don't vibrate at all. My big wind protection complaint about the Street Glide, as it is on any Harley, is the windshield, which is low and not adjustable. Because of this, you're scraping the bugs off your helmet, and the stereo system ceases being useful above 50 miles per hour or 80 kilometers per hour. Every Indian bagger, as well as the Goldwing and BMW K1600B, have electrically adjustable windshields, and the Street Glide, being a premium bagger which commands a premium price, $26,000 US and $32K Canadian MSRP, should definitely add an adjustable windshield. What I had zero complaints about was the engine. The 117 cubic inch 1923cc Milwaukee 8 may be the best touring motor out there. Power is an impressive 105 horses and torque is 130 pound-feet, and that's before any mods like a Stage 1 kit. The big M8 sounds the business too, with a deep rumble. And a pretty mean intake growl. But if you want to turn up the decibels, the stock pipes have to go. For a touring bagger, this is the perfect engine, and I say that having just ridden the CVO Road Glide ST with its 121 cubic inches and 127 horsepower. I like the 117 better because it exemplifies what a Harley touring bike should be. This is one of the most relaxed engines in motorcycling and can cruise around under 3,000 RPM all day long. At 120 kilometers per hour or 75 miles per hour, this engine is turning 2,750 RPM and feeling as if it's barely awake. Yet twist the throttle and that 130 pound-feet of torque launches this thing past traffic. It's effortless. I guess if I had to be nitpicky, the only complaint I'd have is that it's too civilized. I remember when Harleys would try to rattle your fillings loose. Yet today's M8 bikes sit at a red light gently vibrating, accelerate with even less vibration, and cruise in perfect serenity. The only time the vibrations return is when the speeds get extremely north of the speed limit. However, if you're hoping to keep up with your friends on Ducatis, be aware that the governor kicks in at 172 km per hour or 106 miles per hour, ending the party just shy of 4,000 RPM in 6th gear. What a shame. Let her rev, I say. Still, this engine feels considerably more powerful than the Goldwing, and back in the 90s, if you had said to a Goldwing rider that a stock Harley engine would outrun the Wing, they would have laughed at you. But this bike is clearly faster than any Wing. It carries 6 gallons of fuel or 22.7 liters, which usually results in a 400 kilometer range, more if you're gentle with the throttle and less if you're not. So the 117 doesn't lack power, but the new Harley baggers do tame that power with some new to Harley electronics. There are rider modes for rain, standard, and sport. You can also customize modes by picking your own throttle sensitivity, engine braking, and lean sensitive ABS and traction control. Additionally, we have cruise control, a giant touchscreen TFT with customizable displays, built-in nav, Apple CarPlay, and a pretty good stereo, though not as good as the Rockford one on the CVOs. In terms of handling, at 811 pounds wet, this is a heavy bike, as are all baggers. It is lighter than the Road Glide by a substantial 26 pounds though, and feels it in parking lot maneuvers. It's not for the beginner, but is considerably more nimble than its chief competitor, the Indian Chieftain. It's actually rather compact, and I didn't look small on it, and neither did my wife Brooke, who is 5'7". The tighter riding position made the bike more manageable at parking lot maneuvers than a bike of this size has any right to be. There was some floorboard scraping, but that's all baggers. And the floorboards scraped on the twisty roads as well, though not as often as I thought they would. These touring chassis Harleys do handle the curves surprisingly well. Now it is a big bike, so don't expect it to transition from side to side like a Super Naked, but once leaned over it holds its line well and happily keeps a very impressive pace. The brakes are also good. They're made by Brembo, though they are Harley branded. They have lean sensitive ABS, and a hard pull brings the Street Glide to a stop pretty quickly. They are axial mounted and are not quite as powerful as the radial mounted ones on the CVO models, but I didn't really notice them as I was riding around pretty fast, which must mean they did their job competently. For storage, the Street Glide has a drawer in the giant dash, which consists of a phone charger cable and 2 decent sized bags which hold a combined 69 liters. There are baggers with more space and there are ones with less. Surprisingly, the Goldwing only holds 60. The bags performed well, although they were a bit thinner in the middle to make room for the dual shocks, which make fitting larger objects tricky. They do look really cool and integrate well with the rear fender and taillights. So if I was in the market for a bagger, this one would be on a very short list. It's pricey, but it is well designed and very comfortable. It looks awesome and would sound awesome with a pipe on it. It's also pretty manageable in a parking lot. I rode big miles and stayed surprisingly fresh, including my butt on the stock seat no less. The engine performance is strong and beats the Indian Chieftain and Honda Goldwing in acceleration and roll-on power. And it's one of the original baggers and oozes character. It will tour all day, can go down a twisty road pretty fast, and feels relaxed doing it. What are my criticisms? The clutch is heavy and sucks in stop-and-go traffic. Closing the air vent below the windscreen at speed buffets your helmet. And at 26k US and 32 Canadian, it is a pricey bike, and you can expect dealer markups. And for that price, you get a nice bike, but one that is short on features. There's no adjustable windshield, no adaptive cruise control or blind spot monitoring, and no standard heated grips. It'd be nice if Harley added these things, but they're probably selling out whether they add them or not. Like I said, this is the most popular bagger on the roads of Canada by far, and when you ride it, you can see why. It's a nice package despite the price and thin list of standard features. And it's a Harley, which I guess is the point for many riders. There is a certain type of rider who will not look at anything else. However, now that Harley Davidson has joined the 21st century with a very competitive engine, good performance, and modern electronics, the street and road glides compete on merit rather than just name. And they are very competitive indeed, with this new bike outrunning most of the other baggers out there thanks to that peach of an engine. But what do you think? Do the new Harley glides put Indian and Honda in their rear view mirrors? Shockingly, is Harley actually near the top in performance? Please leave your thoughts in the comments below. Ride safe and may the spokes be with you. It looks a good size for you.
Does it?
Yeah, I think you should get it.
Maybe will they give it for a 100% discount?
100% discount.
Sold.
Sold. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
100% discount.
Well, I'll ask.
Okay.
I'll ask.
Okay.
My wife wants the bike, but she needs a 100% discount.